Hey everyone, we got a big update on the Wagner chief assassination over in Russia. We also have malaria in DC, which is not the worst disease going around that town, but we also have an update on the California hurricane and the disaster there and what the response is like there. We also have update on Maui and the fire response there, what's going on with that. And also we're going to have an update on what's going on with the mask mandates that are coming back. We got a lot of information to cover. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant, and on this channel we cover the news stories that mainstream media does not want to cover. And we're not going to mention, other than this moment, the Republican primary debate last night. We're not going to do that at all. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. If you have retirement funds you want to get into something safer than stocks and bonds, this might be a good time to do that. Get into gold, platinum, silver. You can talk to Jonathan and his team. There'll be a link at the end of this video. Okay, let's hop over to Russia. So if you're not up to it, we already have an assassination of Yevgeny Prigozhin, who is the chief of Wagner Group. He was the chief of Wagner Group, the owner, and everything like that. So his plane exploded. And I know there's a bunch of people out there saying that he may not have been on the plane. Apparently, they've recovered his body. They've also identified that he was on the plane. Everyone seems to be in agreement that he is actually dead. I know there's some rumors circulating that his wife has denied it and everything like that, but he hasn't come out and said, hey, here I am. So what's going on with that? Apparently, it wasn't just him. It was also a number of his head honchos of the Wagner Group there. So the mercenary group that Russia uses for a lot of its overseas stuff, it's like their CIA, essentially, their Blackstone group. Anyway, Wagner Group has come out and has called it murder, and they are there is no question in their mind that this was outright murder, and they are pointing to the fact that anti-aircraft weapons were used on the aircraft. 2 bursts of anti-aircraft machine gun fire apparently were fired at the aircraft. Eyewitnesses also reporting 2 explosions before the plane crashed. So they are already saying this, that this is murder out there. And the question is, will this trigger a second insurrection? Last time around, we were having Wagner Group people that were spread out throughout Russia, people who were with Wagner Group before, committing isolated lone wolf attacks against Russia, just killing civilians and killing soldiers in uniform and stuff like that in coffee shops and that kind of stuff. So are we looking at another bout of that? If Wagner Group feels like it's under attack, will they lash out? These guys are dangerous people who, a lot of them former convicts, a lot of them just off the leash, right? So we're going to see what happens in the next coming days, whether it's a serious rise up or whether they just try to fade off into the black as best they can and try to hide from all this. I don't know. We'll see. So Maryland has had the first case of malaria in 40 years confirmed. This is in the Washington, D.C. area. And like I said, there's lots of other diseases there because of all the sorts of nefarious things that they do. Greed, as well as all sorts of things for sleeping with people who you aren't married to. If you catch my drift on that, especially the ones you have to pay for. But still, it's very serious to see malaria popping up for the first time in Maryland. And we had some cases pop up in Florida. Now, we always have cases of malaria, but they're not actually gotten here. That means there are mosquitoes in the air that are actually carrying malaria inside the United States, and that is very concerning. It's a very serious illness, but it is treatable, just expensive and a pain in the rear end to do. It's a very long process of drugs that you have to take, and they're pretty strong stuff, and they're not stuff that you can stock up on. All right, so we have a number of tropical depressions and storms that we need to talk about real fast. Tropical Storm Harold knocked out power for thousands of people in Texas, but the damage other than that seems to be relatively limited. Tropical Depression 9 is on track to become a named storm and will probably hit Texas soon. So brace if you are in that area and keep an eye on that thing. Tropical Storm Hillary, of course, hit California, but a little bit surprising to a lot of people. Is it really all that surprising? Last time a tropical storm hit California was 80 years ago. We didn't have satellites back then, so nobody really knew what how to model this properly. Well, the thing basically just disintegrated just before it basically made landfall. The thing just went kaplooey. And I guess the desert air, the mountains, whatever, the thing just tore itself apart super fast. And so that's why you had all the pictures and videos of Californians out there, surfing on their street and, getting out there, going out swimming and stuff like that in front of their house. And it was a big chuckle for a lot of people. There was a good bit of damage that was done due to flooding. Think of it as moderate flooding. So it still will go down as the second worst Hillary that we know of. But it dissipated moderate flooding. Some areas did lose power, but we're talking about 100 to 200,000 people, which if you know anything about hurricanes, that's kind of not really that big of a deal. They've gotten most of those houses reconnected and everything like that. So some cell phone towers were damaged. Some roads were damaged. One LA hospital had to be evacuated after it lost its power. They had to move critical care unit people out of there and over to other hospitals. But other than those isolated incidents and then just some weird freakish weather, like, they had to close down Death Valley because of rainfall, just one of those things that just sounds really weird. But other than that, Maui wildfires, Lahaina, and just truly devastated. While the California thing really wasn't that big of a deal, it turns out the earthquake was pretty small, didn't really do much structural damage or anything like that. Even in the areas right near the epicenter, Maui is devastated. We still have a confirmation of 114 people killed. Right now, they've searched 85% of the ruins with cadaver dogs, but there's still about 1,000 people that are missing. That nobody knows where they are, and so there's a lot of concern that, whether the cadaver dogs are even able to find them. So just truly tragic. What you may have heard, some of the follow-up information we've gotten out there, that the water department refused to release the water reserves, and so firefighters were tapping dry hydrants, and when they're calling up and saying, send water into these lines, they're like, no, that wouldn't be equitable. Let's have a conversation about equity and political BS and all this kind of stuff like that. And it took almost a full day before they could convince the water department to release the water reserves, the sacred water reserves, because this little bureaucrat just killed people because of his political correctness. It's just unbelievable. Also, the emergency system that has sirens throughout the island did not sound off the sirens because they didn't see this as an emergency. And then also we have, they sent it out via text message to a lot of people, but a lot of the cell phones were down by that point, and so the signal did not get to a lot of people. And so that just made things a whole lot worse. So where are we now with the cleanup and the issues over in Maui? We're still hearing out there, do not go there as a tourist, okay? If you have scheduled things to go over there, even if you're on the other side of the island, just don't go. Most of the expensive rooms at the resorts, $1,000+ rooms, are being taken up by federal emergency workers and stuff like that. On the taxpayer dime, of course, but just stay away. Other islands in Hawaii are still okay to go to as long as they're not affected by other wildfires. There have been other wildfires. There are still 30 feeding locations open, and they have fed 136,000 meals over the last week, and they are feeding approximately 5,000 people per day of 2 meals. So that's about 11,000 meals per day still. And on an island that size, that's pretty significant. 2,000 people still without power, 2,000 people living in shelters right now. And we are getting confirmation that all cell phone towers are now being restored. Those are the Federal Emergency Management System, Management Agency, FEMA, out there giving us those updates. We get those through On Scene Alert, which we've talked a lot about on this channel, a source that we use. Atlanta. And Atlanta College is bringing back mask mandates, and students are not allowed to show up to class without a face covering. This is Scary. There have been no cases of cough on their campus, but just in case, they want to be safe for everyone, except for the people that have issues with medical issues that they cannot wear those masks, right? That's one of the things that came up throughout the whole conversation, is that some people medically can't wear them. They've been told by their doctors, don't wear them because this is going to be bad for you because of your medical condition. And there's never any gray area. There's never any conversations. It's just moral repudiation of anyone who doesn't comply with these things. And I think as we were talking, word going out there about more lockdowns and stuff like that, and I think that the fair answer to that is go ahead and try it. Go ahead and try it. And I think that we all need to just mass nullification, right? This is the best way to deal with a lot of these rules. We've had some interesting interpretations come out of the ATF recently about certain things too, and just mass nullification. We're just not going to comply, or we're going to comply in the most troublesome way that we can. That will cause the most bureaucratic nightmare on their behalf. As a public figure, I've had to comply with ATF rules here, but I did so in the most gray way possible. There we go. Lady V has this to say, long-time listener, but first-time caller. That's an email. We appreciate that. This was in my local news today. I live in Southland, New Zealand. We appreciate our Kiwis down there. Kiwis go for... Now I'm questioning myself. Kiwis are not just... They're New Zealand, right? Not... But we call Australians Kiwis, though, don't we? Someone's going to answer that in the comment section for me. I live in Southland, New Zealand, in the lower South Island where it's predominantly rural. Potato shortage feared in Southland. Fish and chip operators told their suppliers they only have 4 weeks of supplies left of potatoes. They had a good harvest last year of potatoes, but this is a worldwide shortage of potatoes. It's being more impacted by Canadian potato issues and the United States potato issues, and they're getting the short end of that. And be aware that we're going to be hearing more about the potato issues as we go into September. I expect to see potato issues happening across the United States. If you have any information on that, please do let us know. Jill says U.S. is bringing food can metal tariff. So the tin-plated steel, which is what is used in your off-the-shelf cans, right? We're not talking about the glass jar cans. We're talking about your cans of green beans and all that kind of stuff like that. That steel is going to be put under tariff, so we're not going to be able to import cheap tin. We call it tin, but it's tin-plated steel nowadays, and that's going to make things more expensive. Expect prices on canned goods to go up and possible shortages to develop because of that. Kirsten says, just received an alert when logging into my online bank that BMO will be offline, from September 1st through September 5th. Normally they're offline for updates over a weekend or from Saturday through Sunday, but this is way longer. I'm keeping out some cash on the side just in case for that weekend. Be aware of that, friends. Things go down at your bank, storm comes in. There's lots of reasons why your bank will suddenly not have any cash for you. And if you can't pay with your credit cards because electric issues in your area, you're going to need cash because people aren't going to be accepting anything else, and it's going to be hard enough finding people who will accept cash when the storm is there and the power is down. This is from Heaven Sent, sharing about what happened on Alex Jones' show. They had a caller came in who is a retired disabled veteran that there is going to be a mandate to be put up to be up to date on your shoulder pads by November, or else lose your SNAP benefits. Now they are in Chicago, so is that a local thing? I haven't heard anything officially about that. Is it really a thing, or is it a misunderstanding? Is it I don't know. I just report the information that you guys are sending me in, and I try to tell you where that source is so you can determine how seriously you want to take that. And also for you guys to chime in down below to let us know whether that is something you're seeing. If you have any insider information on that, are there mandates for the pats on the shoulder coming back, especially for SNAP benefit people? Gardening and Canning has this to say: for the last month, my 91-year-old mother has been trying to get her Albuterol refilled for her nebulizer. As of today, she is completely out. I went to the pharmacy to find out why it wasn't getting filled. They told me they were sold out and might get some tomorrow. I asked if they could transfer it to another pharmacy that had some. She told me that there was none within a 20-mile radius. That's all of Las Vegas and Hendersonville, Nevada. Her nurse also told me pain pills and other meds were completely sold out everywhere also. I luckily had some on my prepper shelf for winter for if I get sick. I gave her a box to cover her until hers comes in. Do you have basic medications? I keep saying that what you want to have is basically the generic Tylenol, and then also ibuprofen, because there are two different kinds of pain meds, and they're both over the counter. You can take them both, and they won't actually interact with each other, so it allows you to get more relief. But that's the most potent over-the-counter thing that you can get without prescriptions. And of course, once you get into prescriptions, that becomes a whole issue with opiates and stuff like that. This is from Greg. I know this doesn't pertain to this video, but is there an onion problem? And the answer to that from me is I don't think we're having an onion problem. I haven't heard yet from people other than just bad quality onions and that kind of thing out there. So he went to Food City in Elizabethtown, Tennessee. Almost no onions. A few bags of Vidalias, a few red onions, and a few white onions. I picked through the last dozen, got 4 white onions. So if you guys are seeing onion issues out there, let us know about that. This is from Bonnie. Franklin County Schools here in Frankfort, Kentucky, as of 8/22/23. They've switched to milk substitute because of the milk shortage. It was a public announcement. So they're not going to serve milk. They're going to serve fake milk at the Franklin County Schools in Frankfort, Kentucky. That is crazy stuff. If you have updates, please do send them in. Just use the word update on any comment on a video, any video on this channel, and give us some sort of geographical location if you can. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there, and I'll see you over there. Or if you want to check out, get some more information from Genesis Gold, that button is right here on the screen as well. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar with the Poplar Report, out.